And Dan, if I could ask you, I mean, what does this fight mean for you? I mean, obviously there's the potential for history, the championship, but is it just that, or is there anything personal, especially when he's throwing out the things he's throwing out now?
No, for me, it's never been anything personal. Even the first time we fought, it's all about the sport, winning, and the belt for me. So honestly, it's never been anything personal. I've always respected him. He's a great fighter, and has stuck in there pretty well over the years and kept at it and improved. And you know, it's just all the other talking that I'm not a fan of.
Question for Dan Henderson. Dan, on the same night that Michael won the middleweight title, you finished Hector Lombard in one of the most spectacular finishes of your career. Did the manner in which you ended that fight answer any personal questions for you might have had about where your career was going or what you had left in the tank?
No, I mean, for me, I knew that I was always capable of doing that at any given time. It's just a matter of putting it together. You know, and Hector was a dangerous guy and has shown that in the past, so I was just very thankful to have it in that fashion. And, you know, I think a good part of the reason why this fight is happening is because I did that night, and Michael was able to knock out Luke Rockhold that night. It kind of stars had to align to make that happen, and I'm just thankful to have this opportunity at the belt again.
You've hinted that win or lose, this could be your last fight. As we sit here today, where are you at on that? Are you committed to that idea, or do you reserve the right to see how the fight plays out, take it from there?
No, I've said that win or lose, this is my last fight. So I'm very stuck on that. I have no desire to go on afterwards. Win or lose, obviously, I'd like to finish with that belt. That would be an ideal ending for me, but you know, I'm ready.
And what?
Question for Dan. Dan, I want to build on that a bit. Let's say you catch Michael with a similar right hand that you did at UFC 100, and the referee is slow to dive in there as he was at UFC 100. Do you follow up with a flying forearm like you did back then, or do you let him be this time?
No, honestly, I've done that before and after him. It was nothing personal at all. It was no reason other than to make sure the fight was finished. There's been fights where I haven't followed up like that, and the fight went on, and you never want that to happen. And you don't know for sure how quickly a guy can recover. You know, obviously after the second one, I knew that it was going to be done, and I was getting up before the referee even came in. But you know, it's just one of those things and one of the natures of the sport. You know, it's happened to me as well. You know, it is what it is.
Hey guys, Ron Kruk with Inside MMA. I'd like to start with a question for Dan Henderson. Dan, you set the record straight. You said that win or lose, this is it. You're going to retire after this fight. Is it more mentally? Is it physically? Can you give us just some insight on how you came up with this decision?
You know, I don't know. It's just physically, I feel like I can keep going for another couple of years, but it does tax on you mentally, as you know, as you get older. As I've gotten older, it's been tougher to get through training camp as healthy as I want and in as good a shape as I want. So mentally it's tough, but honestly, it's just it's time. You know, I'd like to spend a little more time with my family and kids, and not miss as much stuff as I'd like because I'm having to train or off at a fight somewhere. But you know, I've loved this sport for a long time, and I've been blessed to have had a career as long as I have, and you know, turning 46 next week, and you know, I don't know, how much more would you like to see me?
Well, happy birthday. I'm sure the fans would like to see you a lot more. Dan, it's very rare that a fighter or athlete in any sport can go out, number one, still on the top of their game, but also making that decision to walk away from it, was that a consideration too, that, hey, this is your choice and now you can move on to a new chapter in your life?
Yeah, honestly, I was ready to move on after the last fight, and just depending on what opportunities I had, and obviously, this is an opportunity that I wouldn't pass up, and you know, I feel good about having this fight be my last fight, win or lose. I'm going to make sure that I give everything I have and make sure that I have no regrets, and you know, and that's all I can do in life and in this sport. And I'm going to make sure that I take full advantage of this opportunity and put him on his ass again.
Question for Dan. At UFC 199, and you're in the back, and you watch Michael finish Luke Rockhold, did you immediately start thinking, like, now that he has the belt, I want to rematch him right now? Or how much did it take some time to get to have that thought?
No, honestly, it didn't cross my mind at all. I was shocked that it happened and that he finished Luke in the way he did. But you know, and that was it. It wasn't. Well, I guess it wasn't too long after when I had friends and everybody else telling me I should fight him again or have a rematch. And even then, I honestly didn't give it a whole lot of thought. You know, it wasn't until steam started building with all the fans asking for this fight and this rematch mostly on social media that I thought, well, maybe there's a chance that it would happen. So again, I think that this fight is for the fans, and I'm going to make sure they get their money's worth out of this one.
And one final question for Dan. After the UFC 199 press conference, Michael and Luke Rockhold are jawing at each other. And there's a video of you kind of looking over your shoulder, giving them the eye. What was going through your mind as you witnessed what was going down?
It was just entertaining for me. Obviously, I had friends and family waiting for me to get out of there, and they were bickering back and forth, and I was waiting for the whole thing to be over so I can go. And it was just, at least it was entertaining a little bit, but yeah, it was funny. That's about it.
Thank you.
You obviously beat Michael Bisping at UFC 100. You mentioned you're a little bit older now and you're close to retirement. Where are you physically and mentally compared to where you were when you beat Michael Bisping then?
Physically, I feel great. You know, I've had a great last couple of years where my body's feeling really good. And, you know, mentally, I've always been right there where I need to be. So that's never been an issue. You know, I've improved since then. I'm sure he's improved a lot since then as well. And you know, but my power is still there, and I think I've proven that over the last couple of years. And you know, it's just a matter of making sure I put it in the right place.
If you do beat Michael and become the UFC champion, would that be your #1 accomplishment in your career? You've had some big wins over huge names. You've won a championship before. Would that be the big standout moment in your career when you look back at everything?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be very memorable, and it'll definitely stand out. You know, I can't say if that weighs more than the winning the second Pride belt when I had that. You know, but it's definitely be right there with it, and you know, for me, it's the last goal that I had for myself in the sport, and to finally be able to accomplish that's going to be, you know, a great way to finish my career.